Yeah. Okay. Guys, come on, let's start. Trigonometric equations. So we know how to solve. Guys, come on. I'm not going to talk over you. Now we know how to solve. Guys, please. I'm trying to talk. Please. Now we know how to solve equations like quadratic and cubic and things like this. But what about equations that have sine or cos in it? So just as a simple example to get started, you'll need your calculator. Let's say we have something like sine x equals root 3 over 2. If you want to find the x, you can say x equals sine inverse root 3 over 2. And what do we get? 60 degrees? Yes, we have 60?
No. 30. Okay.
Which? What's taking so long, Monica? 60. Yes, okay. Now, if you test this, if you type in sine 60 on your calculator, check that you get root 3 over 2.
Yeah.
You get root 3 over 2? Yeah. You do, if you put in sine 60. But there is a second answer here. If you type in sine 120, what do you get? Yeah, root 3 over 2. It's the same. So what's happening? Well, it's a bit, now not quite, but it's a bit like this. Imagine we had this equation. Sean, what's wrong? What's wrong? No, oh, good, okay. Well, listen. You can talk to me in a little bit when I'm finished. Suppose we have x squared equals 9. If you type in square root 9 on the calculator, you only get 3. But there's actually a second answer here. Minus 3. Something similar is happening with sine, cos and tan. There's always two answers. A sort of a primary and secondary, a first and second answer. So, how can we find the second answer? Well, I'll just give you the basic rules for finding the second answer. Can I scroll down? So, if you have sine, the first answer you get on your calculator, so I'll just write cal. Same goes for cosine, and the same goes for tangent. You get the first answer on the calculator. The second answer, if it's sine, is 180 minus the first answer. For cos, it's 360 minus the first answer. And for tan, it's 180 plus the first answer. This is how you can solve and get the second answer for sine, cos and tan. Now the problems get more complicated as we have more difficult equations, which I'll have a look at now. Yeah? Okay. Continuing. So suppose we had something a little bit difficult, like something like this. We'll say I definitely want to sine 2x in it. 2 sine 2x minus root 3 equals 0. And let me also say that x is between 0 and just to be a little bit different, let's make this in radians. So 2 pi radians, just to be different, instead of 360 degrees. So we want to solve this. How can we go about it? Well, we'll rearrange it first. We'll get sine 2x. equals root 3 over 2. Now the next thing I have to say is quite important. The order you go through next is very, very important. You cannot change the order. What I mean by that is there's a certain way to solve this, and you can only solve it in this order. If you swap the steps, you get the wrong answer. Okay? So I remember the steps like this: I, E, S, and F. So by I, the first step is called, what I call it, just the inverse step. The next step is getting the extra answers. The next step is to simplify. And the last step is to fix any answers that don't work. And I'll explain these steps as I go through them. So the first step you can guess is getting the inverse. So I'll just call this step 1 here. We have 2x equals sine inverse root 3 over 2. So we get 2x equals 60 degrees, which is pi over 3. Isn't it? Yeah. Pi over 3. Yeah? Now, this is where mistakes happen. It might be very tempting to do this, but that's wrong. That's wrong. That's too early. We can't do that yet. We have just finished step 1. We're now on to step 2. So step 1 is just the inverse, nothing else. Step 2 is the extra answers. How many answers are there? Well, earlier I said there's always 2 answers. But because this has a 2x in it, the effect of having the 2 here is to make twice as many answers. So instead of having 2 answers, we'll have 4 answers now. Okay, so this is a little bit of a problem because the first answer we get from the calculator. The second answer is 180 minus the first answer, or in other words, pi minus the first answer. So that would be 2 pi over 3. But now we have a problem. I said there's 4 answers, and here I only have 2. So how can we make the extra answers after this? Add 2 pi, yeah, that's it. The reason this works is if you have an angle, let's say pi over 3, and you need another angle that's the same, if you go around 2 pi times extra, you're back where you started. So you are free to add 2 pi to any angle for the answer. You're allowed to do this for free. There's no price to pay to do it. You can just add 2 pi onto it. So that means our next 2 answers would just be 2 pi added onto these answers. So this would be, what's that now, 7 pi over 3? And this is, that's 6/3, 8 pi over 3? No, 10 pi, 9 pi.
8 pi.
Thank you. 8 pi over 3. Alright. So we've just done the E step, the extra step. Now we're on to step 3, which is to simplify. So we need to remember that this is not x. This is 2x. And of course, I want x. So what I can do is divide all of these by 2. So now I get x equals pi over 6, pi over 3, 7 pi over 6, 4 pi over 3. So that's step 3 finished. Now on to the final step, step 4. What do I mean by fix? let me give you an example on the side. Let's imagine I said x is between 0 and 2 pi, and my answer is x equals minus pi over 4. You might say, okay, well that means I must reject it because it's not between 0 and 2 pi. This is not the case here, because what you're allowed to do is you can actually fix these. Because remember, for free, you can add or subtract 2 pi. So you can actually fix this by adding 2 pi onto it. And that would have it fixed. So what would that be? 7 pi over 4, thank you. So the last step is to fix any answer that falls outside what's allowed. If it's too small, you can add 2 pi. If it's too big, you can remove 2 pi. Yeah, minus 2 pi. Do we need to fix any of these answers? Well, let's look up here. X must be between 0 and 2 pi. Is that true here? These are all acceptable, so there's nothing to fix. So the answer is pi over 6, pi over 3, 7 pi over 6, and 4 pi over 3. You can actually check the answers here on your calculator. Any 4 of these answers should make this equation 0 at the beginning. So what was the equation? 2 sine 2x, wasn't it? Minus 3. If we choose any of these answers and put it in, it should equal 0. And if you have a calculator, I'd like you to check. Come on, Bruce. Jerry is sleepy in the morning. Bruce is sleepy in the afternoon. No? No. Everybody's answering my question. I just saw you sitting there like going... Or maybe you were thinking about the answer. Yeah. Okay, can you test it out on your calculator? Can you put this in and see that you get 0? Let me just open up my calculator. Are you in radian mode? Maybe not. You always use radians unless you see a degree. No. The best way to think about it is this. Always use radians unless you see a degree symbol in the question. Yes? Are you in radian mode on the calculator? Does it say RAD up the top? Or? There should be a little D. You're in degree mode. You need to change it to radian mode. I think if you press shift mode... Come here, give me that. Now you see, you typed this in wrong. You typed this in totally wrong.
Look at the second answer. 5 over 3.
You typed this in... Hang on, I'm thinking. I'm sure you did something wrong. Wait! I'm sorry, this is my bad. I miswrote here. My bad. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I'm big enough to do that. There now, see? Guys, can you look up? Let me show you on the calculator. So first we're in radian mode. Okay, so what have we got first? 2 sine 2 times, let's do 4 pi as an example, minus square root 3. And you see I get 0. Let's check 7 pi over 6. And I get 0. So it works. Are you typing in exactly how I have it on the screen? Okay. Pass the calculator up. Pass. 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 Somebody put their finger on the button and cleared it. No, I can't go back. No, it's gone. Sorry, it's cleared from the screen. I'll look at it later then. Okay, next now. A little proof before we continue. So if I just draw a right angle triangle here. This side is x, this side is y, this side is z, and this we'll call theta. Sine theta equals y over z. Cos theta equals x over z. So that means y equals z sine theta. Also means x equals z cos theta. Yeah? Pythagoras said x squared plus y squared equals z squared. So that means z squared cos squared theta plus z squared sine squared theta should equal z squared. What's in common here? Z squared cancels out. And you end up with this useful result. Sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. Yeah. Yeah. This will be important now for the next question. This is useful because it helps change sine squared to cos squared or cos squared to sine squared. Because of course you can say sine squared theta equals 1 minus cos squared theta, or you could say cos squared theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta. So you can change between sine squared and cos squared this way. Yeah? Okay, got that? We'll do another example now, this one. Okay. Let's have a look at an example. Oh, sorry, do you not have this? I see people writing still. Degree, radian. Yeah. Do you have this written down? I see Dan is still writing. Nearly have this? Okay. Right. Let's look at this one. We'll say minus 2 sine squared 2x minus 3 cos 2x plus 3 equals 0. And for this one, x is between 0 and 360. Okay, this is much more difficult to solve now, but let's have a look at it. The first problem is that we shouldn't mix sine and cos. It's too difficult. We have a sine squared here and a cos here. But we know how to change this into cos squared, which will be better. That's what we'll do. Passing through?
Yes.
Okay. Can you get by?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So sine squared, we can change that into 1 minus cos squared 2x minus 3 cos 2x plus 3 equals 0. Expand, we have minus 2 plus 2, yeah. Cos squared 2x minus 3 cos 2x plus 3 equals 0. So we get 2 cos squared 2x minus 3 cos 2x plus 1 equals 0. At least it's cos. But if you look at it, it should remind you of another type of equation. It looks like a what? Looks like a quadratic. Except instead of x, cos 2x. Okay, so I think this will be cos 2x here. Oh, it has to be a 1 and a 1. And it needs to be a minus and a minus. Oh, so it has to be this way. This is the only way I can do it. Yeah. All good? Okay. Got that? Yeah. Now, this gives us 2 equations. We can have cos 2x equals a half. Cos 2x equals 1. Those are the 2 answers. So let's go through the steps first. Step 1. We have 2x equals cos inverse a half, and 2x equals cos inverse 1. So what's cos inverse a half? We're using degrees now. 0? 60. And cos inverse 1, Jerry? Very good. Okay.
I'm this one is 0.
Of course, I know that. No, I believe you. Alright, 2. The extra answers. So here the extra answer is 360 minus 60, 300. Here it's 0 and 360 minus 0. Step 3. Simplify. So here we have x equals 30, 150. X equals 0, 180. Finally, fix. Well, we said x should be between 0 and 360. This is okay, this is okay, this is okay, and this is okay. So the answer is 0, 30, 150, 180. And I definitely want to check those answers. Sean, pick one of these angles. Which one will we check? Good choice. Let's check that one. Don't worry, I'll scroll back. Okay. Shift mode degree. Let's see if we get 0. Minus 2 sine 300 because it's 2x. Minus 3 cos 300 because it's 2x plus 3. We should get 0, and we do. So I've checked one of the answers. You don't have to, but all 4 answers should work. And I just realised I made a mistake, and nobody told me I made a mistake. Well, not a mistake. I'm not finished. I still have a little bit more to do.
Should we use the SAT?
Oh no, don't confuse me just yet about that. That's something different. Right. What did I forget to do in step 3? I wasn't finished yet. How many answers does 2x have? And how many do I have here? 2. This one, how many answers? See, they're 2 separate problems. So this one has 2, but it should have 4. So let me just get the extra answers. What do I do to get them? 360. So this would be 390 and sorry, I need to go back to step 2. I can only add the extra answers in step 2. Right. Before I divide, yes. So what do I get here? 420, 660, 360, 720. Alright, now we're talking. There should be 4 answers for each, not 2 answers, 4 answers. 720. Yeah, oh I know, 2 of them are the same, yeah. Because when I add 360 onto this, it makes 360, which I already have. That's fine. At the very end, I'll delete this extra answer. Okay, so x is 30. Yeah.
Shouldn't we minus to
No, to make the extra answers, you add 360 onto the first 2 answers. 30, 150, 210. Huh? 210, yeah. 330. 0. 180. 180 again. And 360. Okay. Now finally, fix. X should be between 0 and 360. Okay or not okay? It's okay? It's okay? It's okay? 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 Not okay. Yeah. Now before you cancel, you have to check if you can fix it. Is the answer too big or too small? So what should I do? Minus 360, and what do I have? 0, which I already have. So I can cancel this. These are all the answers. So you notice my mistake earlier is only a mistake because I didn't get all the answers. You can see that I still have the 4 answers I did earlier. What were those 4 answers? Was it 30? 150, because that's what Sean gave me. 0, 180. So I got an extra 2 answers here. Let's just check those 2 answers. Let's check 330. So that will be 660, and this will be 660, and we should get 0. Yes. So I have all the possible answers now for sure. Yeah. More or less? Can you see it? This in the red box here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 answers. Well, there's 8 answers, but 2 of them are the same. Okay, let's do another one now when you're ready. Okay, continue. Another example. Let's do something like this. Minus 4 tan minus 2x plus 45 degrees plus 1 equals 0. And we'll say x is between, let's make it smaller this time, we'll say x is between 0 and 180. Okay, so step 1 we need to get ready for inverse. So this is tan minus 2x plus 45 equals 1 over 4. No, I'm right this time. It's minus 1 over minus 4. Yeah. Now, let's get the inverse. Oh, by the way, how many answers should this have? How many answers? 4 answers. 4 answers, yeah. Okay. Minus 2x plus 45 equals tan inverse a quarter. About 14.04 we'll say. So step 1, done. Step 2, the extra answers. So the first answer I have, it's 14.04. The second answer I have to add 180. So if I add 180, what's that, 194.04? Now, how do I get the next 2 answers? Yeah, plus 360. I won't do that in my head. Plus 360. 374.04. Yeah, and then we add 360 onto that to make that, and then onto the next one to make the next one. So the next one will be 554.04 degrees plus 360 plus 360. Great. Step 3, simplify. So just be careful. You have this to simplify. You have minus 2x plus 45 equals the angle. So that means x equals the angle minus 45 over minus 2. Yeah. So all of these answers, you need to do minus 45 over minus 2. So let's do that carefully. The first one, 14.04 minus 45 over minus 2. So that is 15.48. Okay, the next one, does anyone have it? 74.52. Okay, the next one. Okay, and then the next one. Negative 2.52. Okay. The next and final step is to fix. This one is already okay. We need to fix this, we need to fix this, and we need to fix this. Too big or too small?
Too small.
Too small. Smooth. And you know what the most embarrassing thing is? It's Justin Bieber. That's what's the most embarrassing thing here. What? Oh, are you a believer? Okay. Continue it. Yeah, go. Okay. And the last one, too big or too small? Too small. Okay, so we add 360 to this one. But when we add 360, it's now too big, because I said it must be between 0 and 180. So can we fix the second one? No, we can't fix it. What about this one? Can we fix it? Oh, we can, because if I add 180, it's fine. It is. It's not too big or too small. What are you talking about? Minus 164.52 plus 180.
That's 180, no? 360.
Plus 3... Oh, dang. Too big. Okay, no good. What about this guy?
The last guy.
105.48. Okay. There's my two answers. These are the only two answers in 0, 180. There's only two answers here that work. Questions to do if you want to write this down. I want you to do all of question 1. I'll stop being babies. All of question 1. Moan, 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 cry, cry, cry.
How do you type the system?
Hold on, let me just